I caused a suicide in high school. This happened 10 years ago. It was my fault. I shouldn't have snapped. It still eats me up from the inside every single day. If I could go back and do things differently, I would in a heartbeat. 10 years ago, when I was 16 years old, this new kid started at school. I was really into Minecraft back then, and he was wearing a Minecraft t-shirt. I didn't have anyone to play with, so I approached him and tried to start a conversation. He was really hesitant and shy at first, but when I asked him about the shirt and complimented it, he lit up. We got to know each other a bit and planned to play together. We played together for quite a few times and had fun, but eventually I got bored of the game and went outside with my friends instead. My friends didn't like him, so we never invited him, and that's when he started to get a little clingy. He would constantly keep asking to play and wouldn't take the hint if I said no. He had also asked our friend group if he could play outside with us quite a few times, and I didn't mind him and would have welcomed him. Some people in the group didn't want him there, so I went along with it. He started following me around a bit later and pestering me quite often talking about it non-stop for up to 10 minutes without even giving me a chance to speak. This kept going on for quite a while, and the whole time I was getting more and more irritated. Yet the more we spoke, the more I was getting irritated. I was too scared to back out of the conversation politely, which led to my irritation building up over time. Then I had one bad day, which took away a life. One day, we were at the bus station, and he approached me and started chatting. At one point, all the anger built up over time inside me exploded, and I snapped, and I told him, "Just shut up. I was never your friend. We just played Minecraft together a few times. You are extremely annoying, and nobody likes you." The next day, the teacher sat us down and told us that he had committed suicide. My entire world shattered. I instantly knew that what I said caused this, and that I had caused him to commit suicide. I was invited to the funeral, during which his parents spoke to me and revealed an extremely important detail about him. It turns out he was very autistic and had severe trouble making friends all his life, and he was obsessed with MC, best friend. This shattered my world. I didn't know he was autistic and considered me his only friend. I didn't realize how important our sessions playing together were for him, but that doesn't justify what I did. I should have never said that. I still can't play Minecraft after a decade. Today is the 10th anniversary of his death, and I needed to post his because it should have been me, not him. And to those telling me this is AI, this is just how I write. Think what you want, but it doesn't matter to me. Yesterday was the anniversary of his death, and a lot of fucked up feelings resurfaced. And I wrote this in an emotional state. I didn't want to keep it bottled up, and I really needed some sort of way to let it out. I'm insecure about my size for many years, and now I'm absolutely flabbergasted. So I was sexting with a woman and sent her a dick pic. What ensued was absolutely crazy for me. I've only ever been with one woman who was my ex-wife, and I got no particular comments about my size, but some remakes regarding her previous partners, which contributed to me feeling insecure. I know I'm about average in length, and perhaps slightly above average in girth. It's difficult to find facts about this. But now suddenly this woman is scared and nervous of potential sex because she thinks it's too big. I was sure it was nothing to worry about, and that it wasn't too big or anything. She said she is relatively small, but still. Me trying to convince her it's not that big made her feel like I was diminishing her fear. But I was simply so flabbergasted in what I was experiencing. Being insecure for the majority of my life, to eventually not caring about size, to now being told it's big. I feel as though my perception of reality is being distorted. Almost feel like she was lying just to make me feel good or something. This might sound like a humble brag or whatever, bragging about an average penis lol. But truly, I am flabbergasted. Flabbergasted is the correct word for what I was/am experiencing. I'm friends with an antisocial autistic kid against my will to 215-pound range and is about half a foot shorter than me. He never stops talking about shooting up the school, anti-Semitism, racism, jerking off to hentai, or about Tower Defense Simulator. He's invited me to a Discord server, and all he posts there are porn and YouTube shorts. I can't befriend him because I'm literally his only friend, but if I keep being his friend, I'll probably be associated with something horrendous. because he won't stop talking about his plans to shoot up the school or about his plans to rape a girl. My girlfriend died. I don't know where to post this. This was the only sub I could think of. I don't know if I'm looking for advice or what I am doing, but I need to get it off my chest. She is my first girlfriend. I am a girl myself, and I thought maybe I was bi, which doesn't matter honestly. She is all I have ever wanted, and I knew that from the start. She died 2 weeks ago, on the floor in her apartment. Cardiac arrest. What the actual fuck is that supposed to mean? She's 23, and she dies of a heart attack. The worst part? She was alone, and she must have been so scared, and I wasn't there. I was supposed to, but I didn't, because I said yes to extra hours at my fucking job. I don't know how to interact with her parents anymore, and the funeral was fucking awful. I don't know what to do. I visit her every day. I sometimes meet her mom there, and she'll hold my hand, and I cry till I almost throw up on the cemetery. My dad has scheduled me with a therapist, so we'll see how that goes. It's not that long ago since she passed, but this is the longest we've gone without seeing each other, and it makes me ache. Thank you for nice comments and sweet messages. I'm in about an hour, and we'll spend a night at their house. Maybe a bad idea, but it'll make her parents happy. Thank you to everyone who explained that she probably was at peace when she passed. It helped a bit. I can only hope that's the case. Realized I'm a submissive in the bedroom as a man 30 plus. Basically like title. I don't have anyone to tell. Not that I suppose I really should. But my lady and I have been together going on 6 years. We have 2 kids and been living together essentially the whole time. Recently, we started having sex a lot more, likely due to both of us working on our health and fitness and having higher sex drives as a result. 3 nights ago, I told her I thought it'd be fun if we got a ball gag and handcuffs/restraints just to try it out. She agreed with it, and so we did the next day. And my God, what a turn on. She uses the bondage ropes and ties me up, arms behind my back, then puts in the mouth gag, and I'm just powerless. She's in control the whole time, and I swear I've never experienced better sex than the 2 nights we've done this so far. It's unreal. She also seems to quite like it, and I can honestly say I never would have expected myself to love feeling so powerless during sex like I am. She'll tease me, use me, etc. There's not much more than this. I just had to express to someone somewhere that I feel like a new man with new sexual fantasies playing out in real time. I know my parents are planning on kicking me out when I turn 18. Ooh. I am going to turn 18 in a couple weeks. I know they are planning on kicking me out. They have not told me specifically, but I heard them talking about it. I never asked them about it either. I know they hate me. They have always hated me. I don't like them either. They want me to be religious, and I really could not care less about any of that stuff. When I wear makeup, they tell me to take it off, and when I don't, they tell me I need to try and look better. I just don't care anymore. I haven't talked to them in weeks, or my siblings. I refuse to respond to them. I don't know what I will do when my birthday comes, and right now I don't really care. Now, I caused a windshield cleaning buckets, but nothing too concerning. After my first year, I was no longer scared of my morning routine. I got the money and headed out on my trek, put the money away, checked the garbages, and did my leaf blowing when I noticed a figure slumped against a pillar on that smaller store. I knew that he was dead. I still don't know what tipped me off, but I ran into the kiosk and called the police. The police, the fire department, and the ambulance came. They taped the area off and worked for what felt like hours before they took him away and left. I mentioned it to my manager when they asked why the police was there, but I never told anyone else at work. It never felt like my story to tell. All I did was call the police. That's all I could do. My manager offered to let me go home, but I declined. Going home would not save that man, and I doubt that it would have made me feel any better. Later that day on my lunch break, our local community news group, who listens to the police scanners, posted on Facebook that there was an unattended death at the little store. I shouldn't have, but I read the comments. People fighting about homelessness and choices that someone could make to cause them to be homeless. People making horrific comments about drug abuse. People saying they were glad to have one less person leeching off the community, but all I could think was, that was someone's son. He might have been someone's father or brother. Despite any choices he made in his life, he died alone. He might have welcomed death, or taken his final breath in fear? I will never know. It was absolutely beautiful, the prettiest sunrise I have seen, but it broke my heart knowing he would never wake up to another sunrise again. 6 months later, the same thing happened, but this time all I saw was a set of legs sticking out from behind the landscaping. Again, I called the emergency services. The police, fire department, and ambulance arrived and administered Narcan and were able to revive him. My manager came in that morning to congratulate me, but it felt so wrong knowing that I called the police just like any one of my coworkers would. Another 6 months later, it was about 8 in the morning, and this time I saw two men stumbling around in the parking lot. They looked like they were drunk and on drugs, the taller one grabbing his friend's shoulder to keep him upright, when suddenly the shorter man fell and hit his head on the cement parking barrier. His friend grabbed him by the arm and tried to steady his friend, but upon realizing his friend was gone, let him go, and he slumped onto the ground, again hitting his head. Then his friend just ran away. I hesitated, maybe 30 seconds or maybe a full minute before calling the police, and they arrived, covered his body, and took him away. That afternoon, when I got home from work, I just laid in my bed and cried for the first time about these three men. And I even felt a little guilty that there wasn't anything I could do. I don't know why I typed this all out. I've only ever talked about this with my parents and my husband. It has now been 2 years from the first death, and I still think about these three men. I wonder what could have been done differently to prevent these deaths, and I hope the second man is recovered and still alive to this day. I ignore calls, then text back saying, I just saw this. If my phone rings and I don't feel like talking, most of the time, I just let it go to voicemail. Then instead of admitting I ignored it, I wait a while and text back, hey, just saw this, what's up? I have no excuse. I saw it ring. I actively chose not to answer, but for some reason saying, I didn't feel like talking feels worse than pretending I missed it. I'm a loser that still lives with their mother at age 24. I'm 24, no high school diploma or job. I still live with my elderly mom. The only reason she lets me live here is because I help around the house. I have no desire to do anything, and I have anxiety constantly with depression. My mother is upset. I am not including her in my proposal to my fiance, and I find it weird. Context. My fiance is an orphan and only has her 7 siblings in her life. She is estranged from 5 of them and only considers 2 of them to be family. I plan to propose to her this Saturday and have planned a really nice event. I told my mother my plans, and I knew it would be a big fight. We have always had an estranged relationship due to enmeshment and parentification. So here's the issue. My mother is upset that I have included her sister in on helping me decorate the hotel room where I plan to propose. She feels as if I am including her side of the family, but neglecting my side. The thing is that her sister is merely helping decorate. She's not staying for the actual proposal. It's just going to be a surprise. My mother is very old-fashioned and believes in public proposals. My fiancé is introverted and absolutely would not want that. Now, I know for a fact it would give her extreme anxiety. She feels as if the way I plan to propose, privately, is weird and not how I should do it. If you can't tell by now, she has no sense of boundaries. I know how I want this moment to go, and I really don't want her to ruin it. But with all the bickering the past 2 days, I feel like I want to call it off. She's just ruined the mood of everything. She feels into this moment to make me feel guilty or like I am doing something wrong. I am just tired, man. Am I wrong for doing things this way? Should I go about this differently? I just need advice. I served phallic-shaped burritos to rude customers. Back in high school, I worked at a burrito restaurant chain. Whenever we had customers who were being assholes, showed up right before closing, or just inconvenienced us in general, we would make their food to order but roll their burritos to be as long and skinny as physically possible. We used 10 or 12-inch tortillas and would make the burritos at least 9 or 10 inches in length and maybe an inch in diameter. It was visually absurd and hilarious. If they requested their burritos to be double wrapped, we would stagger the torts to get a solid 14-inch dingus burrito. These things were so long they hanged off of both sides of the basket. Most of the time the customer never said anything, and we even had a dude that preferred his burrito to be wrapped cock style. The best part of doing this was watching the dine-in customers eat their dildo-shaped burritos while we laughed from behind the counter.